When I first learned that DreamWorks was making a How to Train Your Dragon live-action remake, I got really nervous about it being the same kind of slouch that other live-action remakes are turning out to be.
But you're not all boys. So? But I guess it doesn't really matter.
How to Train Your Dragon was my favorite movie growing up. Its soundtrack, along with both sequels, is some of my favorite music of all time to this day. I watched all 6 seasons of the Netflix Race to the Edge show. I played the mobile Rise of Berk game, and I cataloged the dragons in my own dragon dictionary. Granted, I was a pretty weird kid. I loved How to Train Your Dragon 2, and I even liked The Hidden World, despite its many flaws. Because of how much I loved the movies, I decided to read the books that they were based on, and found they're a lot better. Most people compare the movie to the first book alone, but you really have to read all 12 to get what the story is about. After reading them all, I reached the inescapable conclusion that the books were better crafted, hands down. I still love the movies for what they are, but I've been really hoping to see a faithful adaptation of the original work written by Cressida Cowell someday. The series starts off as a sort of adventure per book kind of thing, but it eventually grows into a more mature story arc, and it winds together all of the adventures and quests from the previous books into a really deeply meaningful conclusion. Basically, some of my favorite books ever. Now, the most information we have about the remake so far is the casting. And as bad faith as this might sound, I've already decided not to go see this movie based on that alone. The casting of the original voice actor, Gerard Butler, as Stoic the Vast, seems to be universally appreciated, although I'm still unconvinced that he has the physicality that's needed to pull off Stoic as he's portrayed either in the animated movies or in the books. That being said, he did a great job voicing Stoic in the movies, and I can see why that might get some people's hopes up. Nick Frost was cast as Gobber, which I guess is fine as long as he can pull off the accent. I don't know, his face doesn't really strike me as the face of a Viking, which hopefully they can amend with makeup. The only thing I've seen with him in it is Hot Fuzz, so you might understand why I'm a bit hesitant about his role as Gobber. I have virtually no opinion on the casting of Mason Thames as Hiccup, but I'm nervous on all accounts of production, so naturally I'm skeptical. The biggest problem I have is with the casting of Nico Parker as Astrid. The problem here comes on 2 accounts. The first is that this confirms we're not getting anything close to a book adaptation, which for me personally is sort of devastating. Astrid's just not a character in the book series, so there's no reason to have her in the remake unless it's based on the animated movie alone. Looks like I'm gonna have to just keep hoping someone does a book-accurate 12-episode or movie-long series, because this is the second time DreamWorks has passed up the opportunity for a better story. Again, not to say the first movie was bad, it was great, but they could get a lot more out of it. The second problem with this casting is that Nico Parker, I guess, is biracial. Now, I'm really not interested in conversations about race or diversity in film and television, but it's pretty weird to cast a biracial person in the role of a Norse Viking, just by nature of where they lived and their general look. Obviously, nothing against the actress at all, I'm just nervous this might follow the pattern of Disney remakes. I'm gonna be honest, subjectively, what annoys me the most about this whole thing is that this is a remake of a poor adaptation of the original book series. In my opinion, the original 12-book-long series hasn't gotten nearly enough attention, especially compared to the movies, and most people seem to have stopped after reading the first book alone. While the animated trilogy and shows, especially the third movie, stole very small aspects of the books, I'm worried that we'll never get to see the version of the story the original author created. I want to head off any criticism about me caring about, a children's IP. I think reducing either the books or the movies to just children's content is being less charitable than I am to both the movies and the books. That being said, the books themselves really are about growing up, and I would argue that it's hard to call them very child-friendly by the end, to say the least. I mean, they are, technically. They're a lot more mature. I think not being able to see that version of the story would be a negative, so I really hope someday we get to see a faithful adaptation on screen. Anyway, that's all the information we have for now, but I can imagine I'll be making more videos on this subject as more comes out. If you disagree with my overall take, you're more than welcome to voice that in the comment section, where I'm sure I'll find it. My friend John and I stream on this channel semi-regularly to game and talk about various pieces of media nowadays, so if you're at all interested in keeping up with the most recent news items concerning movies and TV shows, definitely subscribe and I'll see you later. Or vice versa, I guess. Bye!